Now, earlier I spoke to Adam Krejcik, someone who knows the fantasy sports industry very well. Adam is a partner at research and consulting firm Eilers Research. I started by asking him how the latest revelation could change the future of these sites.
This kind of stuff, a lot of debate and controversy. We think a lot of it has been taken out of context, frankly, and wouldn't classify it as insider trading. But that being said, I think at this point, most of the damage is done, and clearly there's a lot of scrutiny now on the industry. And so from our perspective, we're now thinking about, well, what's the potential fallout from this quote-unquote scandal, and really see three things. Number one, the increase or potential for some substantial regulation. Number two, potential impact on new user growth. And number three, what impact this has with their investors as well as the sports leagues themselves.
And what type of regulation are you talking about?
Well, that's the really million or billion-dollar question right now from our perspective. It's impossible to know, but what we do think is likely to happen is whatever type of form or regulation that does happen, that process is essentially sped up now. If you're talking about classifying this as gambling, then I think it's going to be very challenging for the industry to survive and prevail. But I think if you can figure out some type of workaround or additional regulation or self-regulatory bodies or enforcement, then certainly think this industry can continue to prevail and move on from this incident. Should
the government get involved, in your opinion, to regulate these sites?
Generally speaking, we are in favor of regulation, but we also think sports betting in the U.S. should be regulated and legal, as well as real money poker. And so I have no problem with these sites being regulated. The problem is a lot of the archaic laws that we have in the U.S. And so I think it brings into discussion a much broader debate and some conflicts. But generally speaking, we're not opposed to regulation. We just think the discussion needs to be more broad-based.
And do you think it's just a matter of time before that happens? We're talking about when that happens as opposed to if that happens.
I think that's probably fair. Again, what type of regulation you're talking about is really the big question now. But I think additional oversight, scrutiny, regulations is inevitable for daily fantasy sports. And I do hope that this also helps move the conversation with regards to the broader sports betting debate and trying to kind of even the playing fields on that level as well.
Talk to us a little, Adam, about concerns and some criticism about conflict of interest.
So conflict of interest with the sports leagues?
Yes.
I don't really see that. I mean, I think it's great partnerships. They're complementary. I certainly see why the leagues would like to be involved with daily fantasy sports. This increases fan engagement, participation. It makes fans, who might not care about a certain game, tune in or watch it to the end. And so, it's just one more element or way to further help the fan experience and engagement, which at the end of the day is good for the sports leagues themselves, because remember, they're now selling media rights to companies, and to the extent that they can improve their ratings, they can increase TV engagement and attendance, is all a good thing for them. And I think, fantasy, traditional season-long fantasy certainly proved that with the NFL. And I think you're seeing daily help the NFL, as well as significantly help Major League Baseball, as well as the NBA.
Could we have these sites move into international sports?
Yeah, so international is really considered a greenfield opportunity right now. FanDuel and DraftKings have predominantly been focused on the U.S. There's a company called Mondo Goal that has been focused on Europe. They are licensed in the UK and offering daily fantasy soccer. So there's certainly the opportunity. I think it's very early stages, but you are seeing but some focus on Europe. Haven't heard much about Asia yet, but that would obviously also be a really interesting potential market opportunity, just given the underlying population size and interest in sports as well.